Welcome to our Citizens Club meeting for May. I'm John Kelker, the president of the Citizens Club, and it's certainly a pleasure to welcome all of you. I'm excited about today's program, and given our attendance, I think others are, and that's fun to see. Joining us is Scott Dahl, director of the Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau. Scott will moderate a program, Talking Tourism, with his leadership team at Visit Springfield. Making up that leadership team is Amy Beadle, Darren Thurman, and Terry Truman. Before we get started, it's my pleasure to thank our sponsors and partners, WMAY Radio, NPR Illinois, the City of Springfield Office of the Mayor Audio-Visual Department, and this morning's coffee sponsor, Norm Sims. Attendance at the Citizens Club program is always free, but if you'd like to support the work of the Citizens Club, annual dues to be a member are just $30, and a coffee sponsorship is $65. If you have questions or would like to become a member today, you can see Carol Sutton, our treasurer, who is sitting at the back table. Now, with that, the reason you're here is not to hear me, but to hear about our city. With that, I will turn things over to Scott, who will provide introductions, and in doing so, Scott, will you make sure that you give yourself, tell us about your background and your experience in where we're going. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John, and good morning, Citizens Club. What a crowd here this morning. Wow, thank you very much, appreciate that. I can't think of a better way to conclude National Travel and Tourism Week than being right here at the Hoagland Center for the Arts at the Citizens Club. What a great week we've had celebrating tourism, and we'll take a deeper dive into that today. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our city's chief marketer, Mayor Misty Buscher, who's here today. Thank you. My fellow directors are here, many are here. Thank you very much for your support. Appreciate you being on the team. And the Visit Springfield team, you can wave your hands out there, are here today. And I'll tell you, this team, I would put this team up against any in the country. They operate like a metro city team. I'd put them in Chicago, Las Vegas, Orlando. They deliver every single week, and you're going to hear about that in just a minute. John introduced the leadership team here. I'll go a little bit deeper, but before that, let's talk about tourism in general, right, and the impact of tourism here in the city. Travel and tourism, a $536 million industry. Those are new dollars being brought to our community every single year. Think about that, how that compounds over 10 and 20 years. Those dollars are left here to be recirculated. And that's the important part, right? I mean, we support local businesses. We want to, improve our community, but without those dollars coming in from those visitors and those travelers worldwide. 1 million visitors a year is typically what we see. We're talking 17 million in tax revenue, over 3,500 jobs that is created by travel and tourism. So we're big business. And what's nice in Springfield is we don't have to create our tourism, right? A lot of communities do, and they do a good job trying to do it, but we've got it, the home of Abraham Lincoln, and I'm gonna say it, Route 66. And we have been intentionally tying Route 66 to Abraham Lincoln since 2018. We knew we're more than the home of Abraham Lincoln, and we also recognized that the 100th anniversary of Route 66 was coming in 2026. 8 years ahead, we wanted to be sure that we were ready for anything that came down the road, and we know that according to the Illinois Office of Tourism, we can see about 1 million international visitors come through in 2026. North America is also hosting the World Cup in 2026. We'll have 6 matches in Kansas City, quarterfinal matches in Kansas City. That's pretty close to us. So they'll use Chicago as a gateway. They'll make their way down Route 66, because we also know this, and Darren can jump in a little bit about the tourism side. Most of our international visitors are coming for Route 66. They love Abraham Lincoln. They go to all the sites, but they're really coming for Route 66. And in 26, they're going to be coming for the World Cup as well. So we're double dipping in 2026, and I have to say, our nation turns at 250 years in 2026 as well. So 26 is what we have been planning on and building up towards for the past 5 years, and we'll continue that as we move forward. Matter of fact, we have a Centennial Commission. Our Convention of Visitors Advisory Board has been tasked with setting up the schedule for 2026. Thank you, Mike Disco, and for leading us in that way. So we're preparing for that big year that we're going to see in 26. You know, in 2019, we set the goal of getting the city to 60% occupancy. Historically, we run about 55% citywide occupancy annually. To put in that perspective in some numbers, that's 800,000 room nights a year that we sell in the city of Springfield. Pretty good. It sounds better than 55%, right? Because you think, oh, you're about, half that good. We have 4,000 rooms in the city of Springfield. We're going to need more rooms as we move towards sports tourism and the Shield Sports Park we'll get into a little bit. But we set the goal of 60%, get the city to 60%. And our team in 2020 said, oh, we're going to nail this, and we're going to nail this in 2020. We see it on the horizon. We have a record number of conventions, and we all know what happened in 2020, right? We did set a record, just the wrong record. 30% occupancy that year. And so we have been clawing back and building back our tourism efforts since then. And last year, we did see right at 55% occupancy. So we returned occupancy to pre-pandemic levels. We saw average daily rate go through the roof, and the hotels realized record revenues in 2023. So we are definitely back. We still have that goal of 60%. We would love to hit it this year because we know with sports tourism on the horizon that 60% will be eclipsed. But I tell you, we have a lot of pride at the Bureau, and we've been talking about this a lot, the team, we really would like to hit that 60% this year ahead of the new markets coming in and hit that goal. And I did promise a big party. We hit the 60%, so watch out for that. We are trending towards there. We're right on track right now. So travel and tourism, City of Springfield, certainly big business. In the coming years, I just mentioned we're a $500 million industry. I can see us being $1 billion industry, selling more than 1 million room nights by 2030. And that's a real attainable goal for us, and that's something that we'll continue to strive towards to make it a reality. So with that, that's the overall view. You've heard me say that over and over again, but I'm real excited to have the leadership team here today. These are not only people that I respect as leaders, but as people. I've known them for many years, and again, I think we have the strongest leadership team in the country. Next to me is Terry Truman. Terry has 20+ years of hospitality travel experience. He's been at the Bureau since 2012. He is our sales manager and directs all of our sales efforts. So Terry, do a little bit deeper dive into your sales efforts and really what your sales team focuses on.
Sure. Thanks so much for coming, first of all. Really appreciate it on a holiday weekend here. So my job is primarily to support our convention and also sports tourism, any meetings, conventions, conferences, things like that. We have a team of 3 account executives. They're out constantly prospecting new business, and that could be going to a trade show, the day-to-day work of calling, emailing, getting involved in social media, meeting with local connections. That's what they're working on. And then once an event is here, then we have a service specialist. She does an amazing job, and she makes sure that the group has a terrific experience so we can keep them and keep them coming back, because it's a lot easier to keep having the same pieces of business over and over than trying to go out and find new business every year. Sorry.
Yeah, so highlight on some of the trade shows that you attend and touch on the sports side, because I know behind us we have the Shield Sports Park, that rendering, and really your efforts on the sports tourism side, because even though we haven't had a facility like the Shield Sports Park, you have been in that market and in that space, for the last decade. So touch on the trade shows that we attend, the different markets that the sales team really focuses on.
Wow, there's nothing we're really not pursuing, I would say. We have somebody going after military reunions or the faith-based market, motor coach. We're out there a lot, and Darren can talk about that because he's done that market as well. Sports tourism, as you mentioned, we're at a number of those shows and have been for years. Really, with any of these trade shows, we're playing the long game. We're cultivating these relationships over the course of a decade. I've been going to these sports tourism shows for, well, my whole career here at the Bureau, and having a complex like this it's really a game changer. I mean, when you look at the statistics that it's going to bring in $250 million over the course of a decade, that's a huge industry. So we're talking about more than just, hey, it's when I was growing up, Little League Baseball, and it's not local. These are families that are spending lots of money to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, back to the relationships,
Yep.
You built on the sports side for the last 10 years. I mean, these are going to pay big dividends, right? As we move forward with the facility that can accommodate these sports, because I think up to this point, it's been that relationship building, not having the facilities that we need.
Right. So especially with this has been a long process, right? So it's been, hey, just hang in there with us, it's coming. But it's a lot of listening, what kind of things do you guys need? And I think that's a lot of what went into what this complex is going to be, because you're trying to listen, well, what kind of sports are out there? And it's more than just your kind of traditional sports that everybody knows, softball, baseball, soccer. I mean, there's all kind of niche sports and there's probably things that we don't even know about. Who knew about pickleball 10 years ago, right? Now that's like the hottest thing going. So that'll be something at the sports park as well. But yeah, all of our markets, we're really cultivating relationships, a lot of follow-up. I mean, that is truly the key in any sales position. It's not everything what I think grabs headlines, but it's what I feel like 90% of salespeople across the country probably don't do, is just you go to the show, you come back, you follow up, you let them know, hey, even if we don't have something for you right now, a year from now, 2 years from now, we may have something, and now with the sports park, we're going to reap the rewards from that.
Let's shift to this year, what we have coming in this year. I know we have some national conventions, and 3 of them come on one weekend. We know that, but tell us who's returning this year and what's happening on the convention side.
Yeah, so really one of the biggest events we've probably ever had for our city is the National Bikers Roundup. That comes at the end of July, kind of beginning of August, it's such a large event that it even spills out in communities like Lincoln, Decatur, Jacksonville. I mean, that's, again, kind of what Scott was touching on earlier, is that we need more hotel rooms because we would want to capture those tax dollars in a perfect world. We've also got AMVETS, which is right after that, so big national events. And I'll say this, though, we work with events of all sizes. So, we work with everything from board meetings to events of that size, because you never really know what it's going to grow into, right? I mean, if you're hosting a board meeting, it could be a national convention of 1,000 room nights someday.
So, Terry, I know you're modest. We know that. And you don't want to toot your own horn, but you've broken some records, right, in the sales department. Room nights sold, and your team has done an amazing job coming out of the pandemic. Touch on that just for a minute and tell us about the room nights that you guys have booked.
Yeah, so last year we sent out nearly 70,000 room nights worth of business for future years, and actually consumed about 67,000 for 2023. So, and we're about 5,000 off right now for 24. So we're expecting some big years, as Scott mentioned. 26 is going to be amazing. I think 25 will be incredible as well. We are out there working, prospecting, hosting site tours. We just had a great site tour yesterday for the Great Race, which is going to be 1,500 room nights in 2026, which is a Route 66. They're playing off Route 66, so it's exciting times for us, for sure.
Well, congratulations to you and your team and the amazing job that you guys do on a day-to-day basis on selling the city of Springfield. And, you know, Terry gives me a hard time because we always talk about the Springfield Convention Visitors Bureau, Visit Springfield, being the destination marketing agency for the city of Springfield. But he tells me it should be the destination sales and marketing agency for the city of Springfield. So maybe I should take that to heart and change my tune a little bit on that. But appreciate everything the sales team does, and you guys just do an incredible job. So,
if I could just say one quick thing too, I know you're going to switch over to marketing here, but nothing that we do, it's a total team effort. So while we're out there prospecting and going to shows and things like that, it's all supported by the rest of our teammates, and Amy's team and marketing, they always make us look good. And for me, you know, that's not the easiest thing. So I appreciate what your team does, whether it's, social media or creating, things for us to take, so.
well, that's a good segue. So that's the sales side of it. And Amy Beadle is our marketing manager at the Bureau. Amy's got 30 years of tourism and travel experience. Yeah, 30. We're dating ourselves here, right? 4 years old. Exactly, right? I was thrilled in 2018 when Amy had spent 7 years at Shields. And I approached her. Actually, it's the first thing I did in 2018 when I accepted the position at the Bureau is I went to Shields and I said, Amy, you need to come back to the Bureau. We got some unfinished business to do. And exactly, that's what she did right there. She said no. But thrilled that you changed your mind. And then you've come back the last 6 years at the Bureau. We've gotten through a pandemic together. And we're building that back up. And so dive a little deep into our marketing efforts, because that's what we really refer to our organization as a marketing organization. And I think that's what a lot of people think about us, just putting ads out domestically and internationally, and there's much more to that. So take a little bit deeper dive into the marketing.
Well, thank you, and thank you for pursuing me and for not giving up. So I wouldn't want to be anywhere else at this point. It's a fantastic organization. I first just want to say that these three gentlemen who make me look good, we go way back. All of us go way back, and I couldn't ask for better people to work with. I think that when you have passion and you have synergy that we have, only success is going to come from it. And that's really, I think, what our success is driven by, is our deep roots together as a team. We've been a team for a long time in Springfield hospitality, so that makes it a lot easier. Second, I'd like to say, Scott acknowledged our staff. I'd like to acknowledge two specific staff, as I like to refer to us as the three-legged stool. Mike Riefler is in the back. He is our data coordinator, and I can't even expound on how much Mike does, but one of the things that you all will recognize that Mike does is he populates our website events, and so that is a 24/7, 365 days a year, digging, looking for events, getting those put on the website in a timely manner. Most of the time when people reach out to have their event on our website, it's already there because Mike spends his days doing that. He also back-end supports all of our web services, the sales team from the CRM side, and so just really critical. He writes our blogs for us that we develop as a team. So thank you, Mike, for all you do for our community. And Caitlin Coltis, who's up front here, she's our clicker today. She is our digital marketing specialist, and again, without her, you would not see the phenomenal social media that you see, the reels, the posts, everything that's going on. I'll talk a little bit more about some of the platforms we work with that the three of us are deeply involved in from the marketing standpoint. But as Scott said, we are the destination marketing organization. So the marketing department is a big part of that. And we take our jobs very seriously, and we are driven by the fact that we can make absolute meaningful change in our community, the lives of the people who live here, the visitors who come here, and so I think we work every day tirelessly to make Springfield look amazing to the world. People ask what I do, what we do. I say what we do is we market Springfield to the world. Sounds pretty simple, but it's very deep, and it takes a lot of work. So Scott also mentioned us tying in Lincoln and kind of our campaign themes. So where history meets the road. We've always had Abraham Lincoln. He will always be, some of you may have heard me say it in other forums, our purple cow. If you look at a field of cows, they're black and white, and ours is, what's your purple cow? What is outstanding in your field? And we recognize that Abraham Lincoln is that. He always has been and always will be that. But we are now blessed through a lot of hard work and community partners in this room to amplify Route 66 in the biggest way we ever have, and there's so much more to come. We're very excited about that. So thinking about those two things, what do we do to tell the world that we're both of those? So we campaign as where history meets the road. We had a couple of video and photo shoots done recently where we tie in Abraham Lincoln, the state capitol, the Route 66 sign. I say that picture needs no caption. That is who we are. And so we're very proud of our new assets and using those to tell our message even stronger. The marketing strategies that we use, we talked about social media already, so we use Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We try to be out, speaking our story, producing a product that makes people say, wow, we really need to go to Springfield. What is our why? Why should people come here? And so what we do is we work hard to take our major assets and then tie them into what's happening locally. So we may, develop something that says you need to come to Springfield for 2 or 3 days because Thursday you can go to Levitt Amp, and Friday you can go to History Comes Alive, and Saturday you can go to Down Home and the Maid-Rite 100th anniversary, and then Sunday you can go out for brunch and check out our brunch blog. So we tie that together to make sure people come and stay at least 1 to 3 nights with us. As I don't know we mentioned exactly, we're funded by the hotel motel visitor tax. So our job as a marketing department is not necessarily to speak to you all, but it is to speak to people 90 miles or more outside of Springfield that will come and spend the night and refresh our coffers for our marketing budget. Website management, data mining, we talked about all of that. Mike also works tirelessly keeping up with new restaurants that have gone out of business, hours changed at restaurants, days of the week they're open. It's maddening. But we try our best to be the local resource and the resource for our visitors to find the most updated information. We develop blogs and itineraries that are specific to a subject matter. We want to make it easy for our residents and our visitors to say, I'm really interested in knowing about golf. So we have a golf blog, talks about all the area golf courses. Maybe you want to know about our Illinois makers. There's a whole blog on who those people are. So we try to keep those up to date and keep it very easy to show people, not only is there a ton to do, but again, you need to stay more than 1 night. We do digital media campaigns. We run those through Madden Media with the search engine marketing campaign. We also do TripAdvisor and things of that nature. That gets us out. They're serving ads to people who are interested in travel or interested in the product that we have, and then they're reserving them usually on average of about 3 to 3.5 times, so that message continues to get in front of them, so that they are, saying like, wow, I keep seeing Springfield. I guess we have to go there. We also do a lot of other advertising, print advertising, things of that nature with our partners that make sense, like American Road Magazine, Route Magazine, Group Tour Magazine to support the motor coach efforts. So we handle all of the marketing and advertising for both convention sales, tourism, and the general marketing that we do. We're doing some podcasts this year that are exciting. American Road Magazine does a thing called Trip Talk, so we've been on that a couple of times. Very excited about our WGN out of Chicago campaign this year. So we've got 2 live interviews with them, as well as a sweepstakes contest going on right now, and it's going very well. They said it's one of the highest performing ones they've seen, so we're excited about being in that market. I personally am excited next month to get my AARP magazine in the mail. Yes, I get AARP magazine in the mail. The actual AARP magazine is going to have a Visit Springfield ad in it. And I'm very excited about being at that level on that platform. So that's a new tactic we're doing this year.
I think that ties into us being an AARP community as well. So again, that's intentional to put those two together. Yep.
Yes, thank you, Scott. That is true. Our marketing is intentional. We know our market, right? We are not an 18 to 25 market. And we realize that, we recognize that. We don't try to be something we're not. We hope that we get those folks as well, but we really focus on who is our market and where should we be. And AARP, although a bit of a buy, I think it's going to be a really great investment this year. Internationally, we're working hard on Canada right now, and I think we're going to see some great success out of Canada this year. Right now, we're on some digital billboards on their major highway system in Canada, so it's really fun to get those screenshots of Visit Springfield plastered on this huge billboard and all of this traffic going by. It's really exciting to see that. We're also doing work in the UK and Germany with some digital campaigns there as well, and we see a lot of travelers, which Darren will talk about, from those areas anyway. We're doing a little campaign with Big 550 out of St. Louis on the Heidi Glass show. So we've got lots of promo ads running there and some live interviews with her. So yeah, tons of things. Sirius Satellite Radio is a new tactic this year we're excited about. And then I just want to talk real briefly about our local marketing. So we love our community. We love to talk about our community. We love to showcase our community to the world. But one thing that was important to me in this position was to also embrace the local community. So we do that in a couple of ways, not only providing our beautiful website loaded with information for you all to use and reference, but we do local radio programs. I see my dear, wonderful friend Chris Bullock here. Thank you so much. We work with several radio groups to have monthly tourism talks where we get out and we just cheerlead the local residents on how cool our city is and why we should all be proud to be from here. If we're not proud to be from here and we're not happy that we're here, our visitors are not going to have a good experience. So my main mission in life is to never, ever, ever again hear there's nothing to do in Springfield. And I think Scott can fill in the blank here when I say, have you
Been to our website?
Hello. So we work very hard at that too. We want our locals to be so proud of what product and the community that we have here in Springfield. And we also get out and do community engagement activities, which is very different from what we used to do. We want to be out in the community doing things like this, volunteering, and just really giving back.
And that became clear in 2020, right, where we really had to be more local because we didn't have people traveling and it was more regional. And so, you know, we were expanding those local efforts at the time. And to be clear, our job is destination marketing outside of that 90-mile radius. Matter of fact, the state says we have to market outside of a 50-mile radius. We choose 90 miles for that. But it's to tell the story locally. So sure, there's local events and that you know, brings quality of life to the community, but we're really talking about our destination events when we're talking about that. And it is intentional, and Amy's the perfect person for it. If you don't know Amy in the community, there's something wrong. So she loves doing it. We know we had to be more visible in the community, and we really started that in 2020, and it served us well, for sure.
Do I have just a minute?
Yes.
Okay, and then I'll stop talking. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. John said we had till 4. Is that right? Okay, perfect. So I just want to touch on 3 quick things that are kind of some cool products. So we, as you all probably do in your daily work as well, we align ourselves with a couple of different platforms that we use to develop some of our programming. So one is a company called Bandwango, and you may or may not heard of so far our Horseshoe Trail. The Horseshoe is synonymous to Springfield. It is part of our history, and it's something that we're all, you know, very proud of, came from here in 1928. And so Bandwango has helped us put together this trail pass, and we just as of today I'll be delivering things to Legacy Point Eatery, and we are on 32 restaurants on our Horseshoe Trail now. So what that allows us to do is not only just talk about the fact that we're the home of the Horseshoe and we have a landing page that talks about the history of it, but now we have a tangible experience product for our locals and our visitors to tap into. So they go on there, they pick their restaurant, they check in on GPS, they earn points, they get prizes. It's a really cool thing. So Bandwango has helped us set set that up, and I see other trails coming down the road with that as well. We use a company called CrowdRiff, and that is for our user-generated content, or UGC as we call it. And what that allows us to do is have all those cool pictures of people enjoying our city that aren't us just talking about it for our social media, for our advertising and things like that. One great example of that, I saw someone had an Illinois Times summer guide in the room today. Thank you, James, for the beautiful publication. The cover of the Illinois Times summer guide this year is UGC from us, and that was the winner of our Snap Springfield photo contest last year. We reached out, James reached out, asked if we had asset that they could use. We reached out to Melissa Dillon, who was the winner, and she was thrilled to be the cover of the Illinois Times Summer Guide this year. So it just kind of all wraps around, and that builds a lot of great, excitement in the community for a local person to have that featured as well. So CrowdRiff allows us to do all the cool galleries that you see on our website, if you've been to our website. And so when you see all those picture galleries, that's all populated through that database. And then if you see all the reels and the video content that's on there, that is also through that platform. So it allows us to look really cutting edge and really cool, which is what we go for, being cool. And then Threshold 360, and Mike has headed up this project, doing a phenomenal job. We have gone and captured 360 videos of right around 50 businesses, sites, attractions in Springfield. Again, those allow us to put those on our website, allow people to see what they're going to experience when they get here. It also allows us to pin maps. So the Horseshoe Trail is a great example. All of the restaurants that are on the Horseshoe Trail get to be pinned on a Threshold map. If someone wants to see that visually in a map style, they can go to our website and see that. So those are some of the things we use to enhance our technology. And as always, I like to say that we like to be the big dog. We run way ahead of our size, and we always want to look like we're a much bigger deal than what we're actually. Size-wise, we should not be where we are in the focus. So last year, Carver Ties put us on the map with the wrapped cars in Kansas City. We had a beautiful time with them, and they're still using us as a best practice scenario in their company. So we're proud of them.
Amy's not joking. She could talk till 4 o'clock. And we know that, and we love that. So we love that about that. And speaking of Carver Ties, just a few months ago at the Illinois Governor's Travel and Tourism Conference, Carver Ties and that program won a state award. So congratulations to the marketing team, and the Visit Springfield team won a state award. Yeah. Yeah, and so, look out to where Lincoln is going next, right? So we did New York in 2019 and Kansas City last year, and so watch to see where Lincoln ends up next in our next visit to that. So thank you, Amy and the marketing team, a fabulous job. Rounding out is the youngster, actually. Darren Thurman. Darren has 20 years of hotel experience as well. You see a pattern here, but he is the youngster at that level. Spent 15 years as a general manager at the Hampton Inn Suites right here in town. Is an incredible leader. Joined our team in 2022 from the hotel industry and has been the tourism manager for about a year. And so thrilled that you're on the leadership team. Obviously, part of that whole tourism experience. And I think this might be the one that fascinates most people. We don't think about this, but Darren is tasked with managing the visitor center. He also travels for us internationally, not only on sales missions, but others, group tours, which he's handing over to another teammate at this point. But Darren, tell us a little bit about the tourism side and the scope of what you do on the tourism.
Yeah. It's always fascinating. I think our experiences throughout our life are always preparing us for our next chapter. And I always looked at my role as a general manager of creating experiences for our guests that were worth sharing. And I was always about the guest experience, and that's how I got my team excited and got them on board, and we were such a powerful force within hospitality. So as I segued over to the CVB, I just took that with me. And so my role is kind of multifaceted. The largest part is managing the day-to-day operations within our visitor center. How many of you had an opportunity to be in the Lincoln Herndon office, Springfield Visitors Center? They did a wonderful job, I think back in 18, of renovating that space and bringing it to life, and it's right downtown. So many times I get this comment of folks who come in maybe towards the end of their visit. They say, why didn't we come here first? Because we have wonderful staff that are so knowledgeable to help you create a great experience, help you find the eateries that they're not necessarily the most obvious ones, to help you explore the sites and discover parts of the sites that maybe you weren't as familiar with. It's a wonderful team. You probably don't know this, but our team books all student and adult group travel for all of our sites in Springfield. We're fortunate enough in Springfield to have great partnerships with the National Park Service over at Lincoln's Home, the State Historic Team with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. And so because all those entities are there's a great risk of being siloed. And so I don't know who made this grand decision, but once upon a time that all those group tours are booked through our office. And so as you can imagine, as children make their annual pilgrimage to Springfield for their field trip, it is a lot of student travel that is booked through there, and a lot of teachers who are trying to book at the last minute and different things like that. And so that is a huge part of my team's job there. But our visitor center in April alone welcomed 40 different countries, travelers from 40 different countries. The first week of May, we hit our 50th state, being Hawaii. So we've had all 50 states already and 40 countries just in April alone. I think we're at in the 60s of total countries just so far this year. So that's a lot of fun. I feel like that's the best part of my job, is when an international visitor comes in and you get to spend time with them. That picture up in the top left corner was a couple from England who shipped that 1920 convertible over to the U.S. and drove 66. These people, you don't know it unless you're in the world, but they are diehards, and so top speed was 45 miles per hour, unbelievably, and they drove from Chicago to L.A. I think it took them about 4 months to do it. Money must have not have been an object for them. So in our visitor center, we have a lot of fun, but if you have an opportunity to stop in and say hi. The second part of my role is really being the liaison between probably our biggest partner, which is the Illinois Office of Tourism. Obviously, they have their goals and objectives, but they look to each CVB as kind of the boots on the ground to kind of work together collectively. So we want to take advantage of the money that they are pouring in, right? And they offer some of that through grants, so through grant funding. And so, for example, this year I took advantage of some grant funding to beef up our History Comes Alive program. And so we've had a lot of grant funding from Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for Route 66. And so it's important that that relationship is strong, and so that we can take advantage of all those and just only make our city stronger. I also attend, like Scott said, the different trade shows and international travel. We just came back from U.S. Travel's IPW convention, which was in Los Angeles. And so again, with the Illinois Office of Tourism, we had a Route 66 booth, and we were specifically selling Illinois' segment. Not everybody has 4 months to travel Route 66, so we have been trying to travel. What if you had a week and you could drive from Chicago to the Chain of Rocks Bridge in Madison? And if you have a little more time, then you can hop on the Great River Road and go back up parallel with the Mississippi and then fly back out of Chicago. So that was kind of what we were selling in Los Angeles just a couple weeks ago. We have a trip coming up in June. We'll be doing Germany, Italy, and France, selling specifically a sales mission for Route 66 with Illinois Office of Tourism there. So all of that, all these dollars are largely, or almost all, free grant money that is offered through Illinois Office of Tourism. So then the last part is History Comes Alive, which we depend as being our big summer tourism program. And super excited for it this year. You know, I feel like when will we ever be able to say, you know, since COVID, we won't have to talk about COVID anymore, but obviously COVID broke a lot of things, and it definitely dampened History Comes Alive and the ability to interact with visitors and guests. And so this year it is back. There's free trolley service downtown Springfield Wednesdays through Saturdays from 10 to 4, where you can hop on, hop off at our downtown historic sites. That is going to be a wonderful asset for our visitor experience. Of course, all our favorites are back at Lincoln's Tomb, the flag lowering ceremony. On Tuesday nights, we'll be back. This all starts next weekend and runs 10 weeks. History Cooks is back for its 3rd year, where we have some cooking demonstrations at Lincoln's home. We have a bird hike out of the Adams Wildlife Sanctuary with James Audubon character and in character. All kinds of experiences. Alive on the Plaza, which will be 2 to 4 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays in front of the old state capitol. So just very excited. Please come be a part of it. Even, you know, dive into your local community and explore a little bit. I think you'll learn something. So.
That's incredible. And I know you could talk for a few hours as well. I know you could keep going as well. You know, I know we're running short of time, but I just want to touch on a couple things. IPW is coming to Chicago in 2025, and that's a real opportunity for us to showcase Illinois and certainly Springfield, and we will do so. That's just ahead of 2026, and so I think that's a real opportunity for us. History Comes Alive. This is the best lineup that I've seen in my 6 years here. You've created an incredible programming, bringing back the trolley. Thank you, Executive Transportation, for that. I think is going to be a game changer for History Comes Alive. I cannot wait to see how that's operated. We've kept it really concise to the downtown historic sites for now, but I think bringing that back is certainly a plus to you and what you're setting up. And then History Cooks, I just want to touch on this. Jay Kitterman, I think, is in the audience. Jay, thank you, and Lincoln Land Community College and the culinary side. You have embraced that program for the past 3 years, and if you haven't been to History Cooks, please go to History Cooks, Lincoln Home, excuse me, noon on Fridays, and not only will you learn something, but you'll get a little bite of something each week too. So you can do that over your lunch hour.
And this year we're featuring Springfield, great Springfield restaurants, recipes, chefs through time. So every year's a little bit different, and so that's what this year's is. So you can kind of go to all your places of yesteryear and experience some of those dishes.
And I'm glad you touched on Illinois Office of Tourism, certainly our partner at the state level, and then also that you touched on the fact that our international travel is paid through state tourism grants. So we're not jet setting across the world on our own accord. So it's very important for us to do that, and you know, we're making gains on that international side. So I think with that, we could continue, believe me. But I think with that, I will turn it back over to John, and thank you all. Oh, yes, thank you. Real quick, we'll end it with the video and then turn over to John.
This is a sample of a 30-second video that we're using with Sinclair Broadcasting for our national media campaign this year.
All right, so that's a clip of that. You'll see it has a lot of what we talked about, and that's an intentional, once again, Route 66, Lincoln, Horseshoe, you name it. You'll see that for the next few years. Thanks again.
Thank you. It is fun to see their enthusiasm, and I wondered, we're going to have Norm Sims has a microphone. If we have audience questions, if you would please introduce yourself so we know who you are, and let me see what kind of questions you have for our Visit Springfield team.
And we would ask you to limit your comments to a question that gets more questions in today, and you get better answers. Would you say, John?
My name is Jill Steiner. I'm wondering, just because I listened recently to NPR about cities who are regretting the fact that they didn't foresee the success their tourism was going to have, and they didn't have a plan for over-tourism, and they ended up where corporations took over, had so many Airbnbs. People who live there couldn't afford to live there. People couldn't. So I'm just wondering, do we have a future where we say we are so successful, we need to work with the city, because the city's not known for planning in advance? So I just wanted to, whether that's part of the strategic long-term.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll definitely talk about down the road and really consider as we continue to build the travel and certainly build occupancy and the number of travelers that we have. We talked about 60%, and we talked about these new markets coming in, sports tourism, possibly a convention center expansion. Will that increase our convention market there? So I don't think we're there yet from that aspect. But yes, that's certainly something to consider down the road as we look at how many people we're bringing into the community. But for now, please come in groves, right? We have room at this point, and I certainly think with the mayor's plan for our beautification and everything that she's planning to do around the community with our gateways and improving our infrastructure, I think that'll allow us to have even more people visit Springfield. So yeah, I think that's a consideration down the road. We're just not quite there yet.
Team to your left.
Great teamwork, great enthusiasm. Joe McMiniman, working downtown 45 years, sometimes living downtown, and a property owner downtown. What comments do you have regarding beautifying our gateways to downtown, meaning Clear Lake, South Grand, Cook, 9th Street, Peoria Road, et cetera? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I think the mayor already has a plan for our gateways. I'm not sure she's rolled that out, but I know, speaking to her internally, she's going to concentrate on our gateways. We know we need some improvement there, certainly ahead of 2026. We're tasked because it's tougher because we need to work with the state of Illinois, right? These are state highways, thoroughways through here, so it makes it a little more difficult. It's not like we control all of these gateways. So that's a challenge, but I know that the mayor will be working with the state. Her relationship with the state of Illinois is in her first year especially, is amazing. So we'll be working to improve those gateways, but I also think you'll see improvements between our historic sites downtown. We talk a lot about that. We talk about the beautification. We talk about tourism task force. So I think you'll see those improvements going on, and you already are, yeah, at this point. Oh, sure. Yeah, Mayor, come on up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So I've already worked with the Springfield Planning and Zoning, Springfield Sangamon Planning Commission on our gateways and identifying who owns what areas, because some of it's city-owned, some of it's state-owned, and some of it's private-owned. And some of us are going to be easier to work with than others because we don't have to buy the ground. We've already drawn up some ideas of plans of what the signage will look like, and my idea to help pay for it is to get sponsors through local area businesses and highlight them on the Welcome to Springfield sign so that we, the taxpayers, don't have to foot the entire bill. It will have flowers, greenery, and the Welcome to Springfield signage as well. Probably no water features because those are very expensive to maintain. So.
And also, I would just add to that, the Peoria Road Gateway is a perfect example, because if you're coming into Springfield or exiting Springfield, Sangamon and Peoria Road, those gateways are amplified now by the Gate 2 experience that you can see from the road in many ways, the beautiful new State Fair signage out front. And then obviously on Monday, we kicked off this wonderful week of National Travel and Tourism at 5:30 in the morning with Sam Adonia's show, introducing and relaunching the newly renovated Shay's gas station on Peoria Road. And you talk about something that has amplified that area and made that a beautification. If you haven't been by there, please drive by. It's a beautiful site. It's an outdoor museum, but at the same time, it gives us just one more product to talk about, and it gives us one more reason to push people to the north end of Springfield.
Okay, again to your left.
John Kierkessner from University of Illinois. The 60% vacant occupancy that you're talking about, are the vacancies split across all the different hotels, or is that some hotels are selling out and other ones aren't being used at all? What is our direction to change that? Is it new hotels, replace those hotels? What's going on?
Yeah, so that the current citywide hotel occupancy, yeah, I mean, you have some hotels doing better than others. That's a combination of all of the hotels in town. So you're going to see that. You're not only going to see that in Springfield, you're going to see that in any community where you have, some of the properties doing better than others. Certainly, we'd like to spread the wealth, right? And I will tell you that when we sell the city in quadrants. We don't direct them just downtown, just in that area. We figure out, what the meeting planner wants or, what the leisure traveler is looking for, and we direct them. So we sell all wards of the city, and we have hotels in the majority of the wards. So, yeah, we would like to see that spread evenly. I think the sports tourism will do that. You will see the teams, and again, I've said this over and over, when we have our first 100-team, 200-team tournament in town at the Shield Sports Park, I think the community is going to realize what that will mean for our city. And you're going to be surprised because our restaurants are packed anyway, but it'll be hard to get a seat. And you'll see more cars on the road, and traffic will be, let's give them some grace. They're here spending money. So, yeah, that 60%, we'd like to see it spread out throughout the city for sure. And I want to digress just a minute. Mayor, I know the challenges on the gateways. You will see 9 murals going up in the next 60 days across the city. We have been working on this project for 15 months, working with different building owners and the state and certainly Public Works, and trying to get, the location set. That has just been a challenge with 9 murals. Putting all our gateways together certainly would take a lot of time, so I can relate to that on the mural side. Yep.
We have a question in the back corner.
Tim Good, Lincoln Home National Historic Site. And Scott, I just want to publicly compliment you for a decision you made at the beginning of COVID. And some tourism bureaus, as you know, they just close down or they shed their staff. You made a counterintuitive decision, I'm going to keep my staff together, not knowing how long this would last, where the funding would come from. But the success we have today is because you kept that staff together. And again, not all cities were blessed with that kind of leadership. So I just want to thank you for making that decision, and we're in a far better place today because of the decision you made.
Thank you, Tim. Tim, I appreciate that. And you're right. We went all in. We went the opposite direction, continued the marketing. And the sales team did an incredible job moving all of the conventions in 2020, which, remember, I said we thought we were going to have a record year. That means record convention year. They moved those all to future years. So props to the sales team and everybody for being all in 2020 when we had a lot of bureaus reduce their staffs, almost closed their offices. We went the opposite direction. Thank you for pointing
Question
that out.
back.
Yeah, that was a great point, Tim. I will just say at that moment, Terry and I were together on the sales team. I was overseeing the sales team at the time, and it was a hard time. I mean, it was a hard decision to make. It was scary because we didn't know what the future held, but our counterparts pretty much shut down, and our team went on, care and concern for our customers, touching base with them just in a personal way, and then we just stepped on the gas harder and harder and harder. And your point, Tim, could not be more correct, is that that's how we ended up being so far ahead of the game so quickly after the pandemic. And we never let that foot off the gas. We just did it appropriately and timely, and when we got to accelerate, we were already cruising at about 60.
If I can just say, maintaining those relationships at that time, when you had staffs getting laid off and then people would go back, who do I talk to? I had a convention. That allowed us, we were the boots on the ground maintaining those relationships.
Back here.
So, Michael Higgins, Malnurse Restaurant, MacArthur Boulevard Association President. Question, as we've seen with other cities along the high-speed rail corridor, start marketing their cities to people using that for tourism, what is Springfield doing or going to do about that? And a comment about maybe something in the future, like this winter was kind of dismal Christmas season downtown. Maybe the city and tourism can get together and decorate our downtown and create a winter wonderland for everyone in the region to visit?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, our plans are to market more to Amtrak, certainly as the new transportation hub comes to reality. Amtrak's on our minds. We not only have talking to their key leadership, but we will begin to push more and more in that. And you're right, high speed as well is going to make it more convenient for that. As far as the downtown decoration, the mayor's already has a plan in place. Do you want to tell us about that, Mayor? Please come out. Yes. I told you she was the city's. I told you she was the city's chief marketer. So yes.
So this winter, our citizens really missed the Festival of Trees downtown. We had a lot of complaints. They wanted to know where they were at. They missed those, seeing those. So Public Works Director Cooks, are you still here? I saw him earlier. He may have had to leave. It's Public Works Week, and he's got a lot going on. So, but anyway, he's already got a coalition of team members in his agency. All of the planters that you see downtown are the cities. So we are going to vacate our fall flowers out of those planters a specific time in November. We're going to market this ahead of time. Your fraternities, sororities, your bridge club, agencies of the city, whomever, your churches, can choose a planter, adopt it, and decorate it, and we're going to have a contest at holiday season and vote on those, and it will imagine beautiful life in downtown Springfield, and people can put their own touch on it. We no longer have Festival of Trees, and people in our community, and I worked at a bank that we had a tree every year, and we love decorating it. People can do this with our pots downtown. So you'll have to sign a disclaimer that if they get vandalized, we can't be responsible for the cost of your items. But other than that, we're going to have a contest with that to help with the decorating downtown, Michael, to start off with.
Thank you, Mayor. Question to the front.
This is a very impressive panel. I'm enjoying listening to them. I'm John Watt, longtime pill pusher here. My wife and I frequently go downtown to visit our friend who runs Prairie Archives, which is a unique establishment around here, full of old political pins and stuff, but the parking lot under the old state capitol is in bad shape. It's deteriorated. It's not attractive. I don't even know if it's safe. Has the city ever thought about buying that parking lot and running it as a city lot, perhaps?
So the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, they own the old state capitol, the parking, the underground parking garage with that. They have been going through extensive renovations for the past year and a half, and that will continue through this summer. I tell you, we miss the grounds of the old state capitol. We certainly miss being inside. I know it's going to look amazing. It's going to be updated for the next 30 to 40 years. It will be ahead of 2026, which is our main concern at this point. But they do have plans for the underground parking area as well. So, yeah, we'll defer to IDNR, and we know they have plans for that. We know they have plans for our Lincoln Herndon law offices. They've been pumping money into all the state historic sites. I think that leads to just overall what is happening in especially our downtown area with the transportation hub, all the money the state's investing in our state historic sites, the $250 million plus that's being invested in our state capitol complexes, the armory, the $60 million that's already been pumped into the Illinois State Fairgrounds, the Shield Sports Park coming online. 2 years from now, we will be ready for 2026, and our best years are ahead of us. And we are going to look amazing through and through, and we're going to really be able to showcase. But you're right, that's already under consideration, but I'll defer to IDNR for that.
I think this is our last question to your left, and a point of personal privilege. Thanks for including Dana Thomas House in the commercial. Lady in the center.
Hello, I'm Mary Ellen Carlson, citizen. And my question goes for the encouraging youth to come, because we have this new sports convention coming up. What is being done to improve that? I know ARP has a lot more money, but the young people that you get will one day be married and have children, and we have all these historic sites. So right now, I don't know what are we doing to entice those people to come?
That's a great question. Oh,
go ahead.
Are you okay? Okay. That's a great question, and if I misspoke, I apologize. We market to 18 plus. We try to make ourselves, and I think over the last 5 years, especially the last 2 years, we are making ourselves much more youthful, much more attractive to younger people. And we've done blogs for, Gen Z travelers. Specific from our Gen Z staff wrote a blog for Gen Z travelers saying, here's what we love about Springfield. Here's where we go. This is what we enjoy. Trying to have that voice. So we are seeing a much more youthful look to our website. I spoke about CrowdRiff and all of those, the reels and the content, and we're on Instagram, even though Instagram isn't our general audience target. We're Facebook people, is what we found. But Caitlin, who I introduced earlier, works tirelessly on Instagram, making sure that we have great content, that we have wonderful reels. That's where that audience lives, and we do not ignore that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask, we are not on TikTok. That would be, a way for us to get into that generation as well. But that comes with its own set of challenges. So we amplify what we can, and Instagram is a great way for that. So we by no means ignore that audience. We understand that we want people to live, work, play, and visit in Springfield, and hoping that they visit or they go to school here and they end up deciding that Springfield is the place they really want to live. So we do tap that market. We just don't spend excess energy or excess dollars, because that is not what our driver is. But we hit all markets. Thank you.
And just when you were talking about with sports tourism becoming so big, so when we reach out to these rights holders, we are talking about the whole experience. So the facility is the start of it, but we're really selling Springfield as a whole, and because you're going to spend 75-80% of your time where you're not at the facility, right? So it's that our sites and attractions are so, family friendly, and they're not costly, or and we work with our partners, Knights Action Park or Malibu Jacks, and our service specialist always holds our group's hand kind of and points them in the right direction, so that the experience when the tournament comes or whatever it may be is wonderful, and they come back and see us.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking Scott, Amy, Darren, and Terry. Our next program is June 28th. We will hear about a new program, Shifting into High Gear, or SING, addressing successful community reintegration with founder and CEO Leonard Joyner, board member David Risley, and consultant Becky Gabney. We will also take a few minutes next month to hold our annual meeting to elect future leadership of the Citizens Club. Thank you for joining us this morning. I look forward to seeing you June 28th, and have a wonderful holiday weekend.